No vacation this year. Too costly, my family said. I agreed. Then I saw a $12,700 yacht charter on my card. 13 guests, none of them me. I didn't yell, just hit dispute all, froze the travel wallet, and closed the app. At boarding, security stopped them. No payment, no entry. My sister texted, "Fix this now." I replied, "Already fixed." But what they found on the table in their house changed everything. I wasn't angry. That surprised me. When my card paid for $12,700, I just stared at the screen. The charge memo said, Yacht charter, 13 guests. I counted them. My mom, dad, sister, her fiancé, 3 cousins, Uncle Mike, Aunt Renee, 2 of their kids, a family friend named Sasha, and probably someone's +1. 13 names, none of them mine. I scrolled back through our last texts. Just a week earlier, my mom had sent a group message. No vacation this year. Too expensive. Let's be practical. Everyone agreed. I did too. Rising costs, tough year, fine. But this a yacht? I didn't yell. I didn't call. I just opened the travel wallet, hit dispute all, froze the secondary card they'd been using, and closed the app. Then I checked the security access logs on their boarding QR. Everything was still linked to me, still my infrastructure, still my network. So I flipped the switch. No more coverage, no payment, no entry. I got a text from my sister while they were at the dock, apparently already scanned and rejected by security. "Fix this now." I replied, "Already fixed." Then I went silent. They didn't expect that. They expected the usual, the calm explanation, the reluctant forgiveness, the last-minute bailout. But I was done. Not with rage, not with bitterness, just done. What they didn't expect, what changed everything, was what I left behind. What I placed on the table in their house before freezing the wallet. A folder, a sealed envelope, one sentence on the front. You told me we couldn't afford it, so I paid attention. It wasn't the yacht that broke me. It was the memory of every time they lied and called it love. I sat alone that night and went back through the locks. Every transaction, every booking, every bill. I found a cruise deposit from 3 months ago. $12,200 labeled family retreat. I didn't go on that one either. I found restaurant charges in coastal towns I'd never been to. Uber rides I never took. A flower delivery to someone named Tanya. I don't know a Tanya. The deeper I dug, the clearer the pattern became. I was never invited, only attached. Attached to the card, attached to the name, attached to the burden. 3 years ago, I helped them out with a summer rental. They said it was a gift for Grandpa Joe. I paid the deposit, drove the U-Haul, even fixed the air conditioning midweek. I didn't stay. There wasn't a bed for me. 2 years ago, I covered the catering for my sister's engagement dinner. Not the actual wedding, just the dinner before the dinner. Her fiancé toasted the real supporters in the room. He looked right past me. Last year, they forgot to add me to the Airbnb group chat. When I found out, they said it was just a logistics thing. I asked if there was still room. My brother-in-law said, "There's always the pull-out couch." I canceled my flight instead. No one noticed. It wasn't accidental. It wasn't careless. It was systemic. I was a backup they assumed would always be available. A technician, an account, a fallback. They used my tools, my systems, my cards, then laugh like I wasn't even there. That yacht charge. It wasn't a mistake. It was a culmination, a declaration. You don't count, but your money does. And that envelope I left on the table. Inside was a full breakdown. Printed bank statements, highlighted charges, a list of names attached to every trip I paid for, but wasn't invited to. The Hawaii tickets they never took because I canceled them. The wedding reception they billed to me without asking. The mortgage assistance I froze after they gave my seat to a neighbor on Christmas Eve. The landscaping I pulled when they said the backyard party was for immediate family only. Page after page, proof, evidence. not to expose them, to remind myself I wasn't insane. Because for years they convinced me I was. They said I was dramatic, sensitive, selfish. Every time I asked to be included, they called it needy. Every time I asked to be respected, they called it pride. But now I saw the formula. They only praised me when I gave. They only called me when something broke. They only remembered me when the bill arrived. I was never the son, never the brother. I was the donor. And that realization, it was surgical, clean, cold, cutting through years of guilt and silence. I remembered the time my mom cried at the table because I forgot her birthday. I had just wired her $1,000 the day before for a dental bill, but I forgot the card. That was what mattered. I remembered how my dad used to introduce me to his friends. This is my boy, works with computers, knows all the tech stuff. Never. This is my son, just the tech guy. Like I was IT support, not family. I remember the time my sister borrowed my car for a week, returned it on empty, then laughed when I asked about gas money. You make more than all of us combined. She said like that excused it. I remembered when I had surgery, a serious one. I woke up alone. Not a single family member had come. My phone buzzed the next day. Not a get well message, just a Venmo request from my dad. Can you cover the electrician this week? That was the pattern. I give, they forget. I help, they exclude. I show up, they ignore. I stay quiet, they assume I'm okay with it. And every time I swallowed it, every time I made excuses, told myself they didn't mean it like that it was just bad communication, stress, upbringing. But no, it was choice. They chose to forget me, to use me, to ignore the human behind the account number. And that's why the yacht wasn't just a vacation. Sure, here's a slightly changed version of your text in English, keeping the meaning and tone the same without repeating the story or altering it too much. It was betrayal dressed in sun hats and champagne flutes. A luxury escape funded by the ghost they didn't bother inviting. I remembered my sister's message, "Fix this now." I almost laughed. They still didn't get it. They thought this was some glitch or system outage. The help they relied on so casually had ended silently. The folder I left behind wasn't for them. It was my own eulogy. A farewell to the version of me they buried under constant expectation. They erased the part of me that stayed quiet just to keep peace. What they didn't realize was, I wasn't their support anymore. The one who treated disrespect like duty. What's rising now isn't vengeance. It's a boundary. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't make threats. I simply began. First with the travel wallet. Something I'd set up years ago. Flights, hotels, rentals, all routed through it. They never understood how it worked. Just tapped confirm, and it all happened. That wasn't magic. That was me. I revoked every user. Froze the account. Not just the yacht, but everything it funded. Key West hotels, Miami dinners, Nassau tours. I let the systems fail naturally. I didn't cancel. I voided. There's a difference. Then came the security setup. Smart locks, cameras, thermostats, Wi-Fi. All mine, installed through my enterprise license. 1 click, disable. 2 clicks, revoke access. Final click, assign placeholder credentials, system offline. For once, the house would run without my invisible wiring. Then I went deeper, to the root. My private server hosted over 40 businesses, including my parents' firm and my sister's wedding gig. I'd gifted them free access, unlimited support. It was all tied to my infrastructure. I cut it, moved their domains, pulled certificates, sent a sunset alert. Within half an hour, email failed. Sites broke. Forms crashed. It wasn't to harm them. It was to wake them. Their success was built on someone they stopped treating like family. And now that someone was gone, calls came mid-morning. Dad first. Then my mom. Why can't we open the office files? The security app says we're locked out. Is this a bug? Then came the word I'd been expecting. Fix this. Fix us. Fix what you broke. Like I owed them sky and stability while they danced overhead. I didn't respond. I logged in. Pulled every log. IPs, devices, failed logins, reset attempts, API pings. The data was clear. Even while dismissing me, they were still trying to get back in. Not for me, for access. So I kept going, removed myself as mortgage cosigner, terminated the storage lease, transferred the phone plan, canceled every streaming service under my account, replaced all profiles with one, start paying yourselves, not revenge, just balance. They thought I'd run in the background forever. But I'm not a program, I'm a person, and I had finally read the code of our connection. You're only worth what you give. So I gave nothing. The shift happened at 3:17 p.m. My sister sent 2 words. You're dramatic. I took a screenshot, saved it in a new folder labeled documentation. Then I moved on. By 5 p.m., their operations had stalled. Emails bounced. Invoices stuck. The accounting software I had built for them, offline, their client database locked. They'd never paid for it, never asked how it worked, just assumed it always would. At 7:42 p.m., my uncle called, calm, diplomatic. I think there's been a misunderstanding, he said. I told him there hadn't. The yacht was just the final unpaid bill in a long list they ignored. He asked what I wanted. Nothing, I said. No negotiation? Number, I'm stepping away from a role I never agreed to. At 9:13 p.m., I got an email from technical support, family. Please restore access. Be reasonable. I replied, I am. I'm just no longer available. I signed it with the same line I wrote on the ignored envelope. You said we couldn't afford a vacation, so I paid attention. By morning, 17 missed calls, 2 voicemails, an urgent email. I ignored them. Instead, I backed up the family archive I'd maintained for years. Photos, documents, videos. I encrypted it and locked access. I wouldn't delete their memories, but I wouldn't let them pretend they included me either. By Sunday, the damage was visible. Family chats flooded. Complaints, panic, denial. My brother-in-law said, I think this is about the yacht. Like that was all it was. They didn't understand the years I'd held them up in silence. Then came the backlash. A group call, a voicemail from my mom about betrayal, a text from my dad calling me childish. My sister messaged, You've made your point. Now undo it. I didn't respond. I knew their script. Dismiss, demand, deny, attack. The lies followed. My uncle told the extended family I was having a breakdown. My mom posted vague Facebook sympathy bait. No one asked what actually happened. They didn't want truth, just control. By Monday, I'd been labeled dramatic, unstable, dangerous. Not for yelling or threats, but for refusing to serve. My mom called again, crying. You've embarrassed us, she said. Not hurt, just embarrassed. Because to them, image mattered more than what they did to me. Tuesday, I found out someone filed a complaint in my name, an anonymous accusation meant to discredit me. I traced it back. I knew who. I didn't retaliate, just documented it, sent everything to my lawyer. This wasn't a tantrum, it was escalation. That night, my cousin Maya called. They're saying you used threats to force your way into the trip. I laughed. I paid for the trip, I said. They excluded me. She knew. But she also knew the truth didn't matter to them anymore. They just needed a villain, and I was easy to cast. They couldn't handle the truth, so they rewrote it, turned me into the unstable one, the problem, the cause of the fallout. I didn't argue. I kept records. While they threatened lawsuits, I archived access logs, transactions, and messages. They weren't mourning me. They were mourning the loss of everything I quietly provided. Stability, tech, money, silence. They hadn't lost a son. They'd lost their foundation. Then came the smear campaign. Anonymous emails accusing me of abusing access, sent to my clients. No evidence, just buzzwords. One client forwarded it to me. They didn't believe it, but warned me others might. I checked. 3 more clients had received similar messages, all traced back to the same alias. Martin Collins, my sister's fiancé's burner name. I compiled everything, fake complaints, IP logs, metadata. Then I waited. At 10:06 a.m., I released a document titled Context. It wasn't angry, just factual. Payment records, the yacht invoice, screenshots of planning threads I was excluded from, audio from the marina, logs of the false complaints, and a closing line. This isn't revenge. This is documentation. If you're going to tell the story, at least use the right data. I didn't blast it, just sent it to a few, but by noon it had spread. By 4 p.m., messages flooded in. I had no idea. Thank you for telling the truth. Even my loudest critic, my uncle, called. That wasn't okay. I told them to stop. I didn't console him, just said, good. They had controlled the narrative for years, painting me as cold, selfish, ungrateful. They never expected a response. But I didn't beg. I published. And that shift, from emotion to evidence, changed everything. They tried one last pivot. We were just hurt. It was all a misunderstanding. My mom even posted a vague, emotional Facebook message, no mention of the yacht, the lies, the money, just a performance of pain. I stayed silent. The facts had already spoken. Then they came, Sunday, unannounced. My mom red-eyed, dad silent, sister holding coffee she didn't pay for. We just want to talk, she said. You didn't lose a vacation, I told them. You lost access. We were wrong, my mom said, but we're still family. You used me like a service. I'm not one, my dad. So that's it? That's it, my sister. This won't fix you. I smiled just slightly. I'm not broken, I'm free. And I closed the door, no yelling, no tears, just peace. For once I wasn't the one walking away. They were.